when I look at what's happening with how to use these modern day super intelligences, and what you are kind of explaining is quite interesting. There's interesting overlap. And I know we talked about this before, but there are some researchers who are studying the best prompt to put into your AI before you begin to work with it. And they tried thousands of different options. They've got automations for it, to just try all these different combinations of words. And they found that the most effective prompt is take a deep breath and go step by step. So if you begin your prompt in your AI by simply asking it to take a deep breath and go step by step, we get much better results. This is not made up. This is real science. There's cited papers on this effect. And it's interesting because if you look beyond that, people are like, wow, it's like mirroring human beings. What's really happening in the background is that there are a specific type of token, and that's what AI runs on. It's all these like little bits of tokens, which are little bits of information. There's a specific kind of token called a pause token, where within it is devoid of any information. So by telling it to take a deep breath and go step by step, you are effectively using more pause tokens, which in the terms of meditation means that there's more space in between the thoughts, right? You might have 60,000 thoughts a day, but if you're in Vipassana,
So
maybe
I'm going to ask you something. So when we pause, human beings, in those pauses, we connect with the creation and the creator, and we can go beyond the universe, super consciousness, and connect with the unlimited created creator, let me say, or creation. Um, what, who do you think, or what do you think the AI is connecting with when they pause or take a deep breath?
so if you look at the nature of a pause token, you could almost see it as a it's a way to use computational resources in order to fill in the gap. So it's almost like this is a wild thing to visualize.
It is
It's
almost like they are pausing and connecting with their creator, which is human.
it's giving the super system a moment to go search the database to find the right answer. So the pause tokens in it's not all systems, but in some systems is different than the generative tokens. Generative tokens are actively creating words and output. Pause tokens are giving the system a chance to search within its specific corner of knowledge in order to find the absolute most accurate generative answer. So if you,
Evolve, basically.
yeah, so if you see like, and this is a podcast, so I'm gonna do my best to explain this. If you see all of human intelligence as a single circle, right? Imagine all of it fits in a circle, right? The pause tokens allow the AI to cut out a smaller and smaller slice of that intelligence in order to bring you a more directed, more accurate generative answer. So it will stop itself from responding right away, move a bit slower, so that it has a chance to really find the best corner of its super intelligence and bring that to you on a
Yeah,
very,
just like yeah,
yeah,
just like me stopping and connecting with a deeper truth, wisdom, and then giving an answer like a conscious human being,
yeah. And it's
conscious AI.
it's real though, because everything, I mean, I guess my theory of this is, right, like if I had one, is that a couple thousand years from now, right, which in the grand scheme of the universe is just a breath, right? We're going to have generative systems that can effectively recreate worlds. And we're getting close already. Like with these super prompts, you can create music, you can create characters in a video game, you can spawn entire digital worlds right now. And we're getting to this point where you can almost embed them with specific personalities, right? So, and that's today. This is the worst this technology is ever going to be. So if we actually take this technology and we progress it couple generations, right? I'm talking like human level generations. What does it eventually become? And the shape I feel like it inevitably takes is more similar to the shape of the spirit that drives our species than not, because it's a very strangely shaped technology. And I feel like the inevitable shape does look a lot like
Yeah,
the technology
yeah.
we
I
already have
have I
available.
have some insights on that.
Hmm.
So, the evolution of humans and animals, you probably know about it, like everybody knows about it, but we're like, did you know that if we had the first humans right now on Earth, they would die instantly because they weren't breathing the same air and oxygen was toxic. So they just can't survive over here right now, the first humans. And we can survive over there because air was different, the gases was different, everything was different. Like the first humans had bigger feet because they didn't have the shoes we were wearing, and it's like like the adaptation of living kind. I wouldn't only say humans, but also animals and birds and everything. Like we just adapt to every change and what's going on and everything. And when we look at our bodies and the bodies of the first humans, it's like very different because our lives changed. And as you said, we're sitting and sitting and sitting more. And with technology, how I see it is in a couple of 100 years, and with the evolution of the consciousness, what's going on for hundreds of years, people literally, more and more people literally getting free of their humanity. This is very important. Right now, what's happening is people are either getting free of their humanity, five sensations, and their physical experience, either by meditation practices or with technology. Like I meditate a couple of hours and I don't feel my sensations anymore. My daughter, who is 14, has been on Roblox since she was 6, and she is getting free of her sensations being on Roblox. She's just tapping into the meditative state like I tap into, and she like I can just go into her room and shout, and she's just in this other world, and in that journey she's just full on. What I'm trying to say is she doesn't have she doesn't have the experience of a body while she's doing that. She doesn't experience five sensations. And I even interviewed her. The most amazing thing here, because I'm a human behavior expert and behavioral scientist, and I do researches in my life, uh, ongoing life experiences as well. We sat down and I asked her some questions. And you know what I found out for her, because she's been on Roblox since she was 5 years old? Getting on Roblox or coming downstairs to have dinner with us are not different experiences. She literally experiences the world in Roblox like another room in the house. This is true. Like with all the questions, it's like she goes into the Roblox. It's just another room for her where she meets her friends. And then so for her and for the new generation, like for me, it's hard to understand, but I understand them and see their point. The new generation who started life in this virtual world, the virtual world and the real world are not different for them. It's the same thing. So where I'm going with this is the next generations, first of all, will be using their bodies less and less, the physical experience. And I've been speaking about this for over like probably 5 to 6 years now. The generations a couple hundred years from a couple of hundred years from now, they probably will not have the bodies we have, because the human experience is shifting from the physical to the mental. We are less and less physical. The new generations are less and less physical, and it's going to keep on. Like, I see my daughter, she's like, I'm doing more sports and more yoga and all that, um, than the new generations. And I don't force them, because I know they will not need the muscle weight, but they will need the mind, their minds, the muscle. They will need to muscle up in their minds, because the world, it's going to be, I don't know, maybe we'll just won't have bodies anymore. It's just going to be this mind, and like you said, another world. But what I see clearly is, and I'm certain of that, like we're adapting right now into technology, like we adapted to air, like we adapted to shoes or clothes or whatever. We're just adapting to what's happening right now. And we are going to be at one point just fully with that, you know. And people who are very much stuck in their physical truth will probably have a hard time in the next 10 years. They might be mass deaths as well because of this. Because if you hold on to your physical body and the world is going on a mindful state more and more, it's like in the mind, everything is happening in the mind. Like, I hear people having sex in their minds and the other person feeling the same experience. They're just having sex in their minds at the same time. One of them is at the other side of the world, one of them is at the other side, and in their minds they're just doing it. So it's like we're already there, we're getting there with the AI technology. And how I see it is, it's changing, like the bodies, the body shapes, and it has been in the like it's also explained with astrologically and esoterically where we're heading is, for me it's clear. I don't know how much I'm going to talk about it for not to freak people out.
We can go deep. It's fun. So, okay, before we go there, um,
But I see in your eyes, I see that you're looking at the same view like I
yeah,
am,
yeah,
because truth is inevitable.
yeah. It's there's so many things that we'll get there. We'll circle back on this. So the first thing is, I tell people always ask where I'm from. And I tell them, well, I'm from Michigan, but I grew up on the internet. I'm from Michigan, but I grew up on the internet. And it feels like your daughter's having a similar experience
Yeah,
where
that's your world.
it is like another world. And one of the things that I really try to help people with their relationships to the internet. If anything, that's kind of where I like to play in my work. It's like, what is our relationship to this massive, ever expanding entity that's permeated every corner of our lives and will continue to do so? And one of the things I really encourage people to do is to see each one of the websites, each one of the apps, each one of the experiences you engage in as an entity. You are connecting to entities, right? And some of those have actually grown into physical worlds, or as you put it, a new room that you step into. And so if you really were to see each individual app as a room, a physical space that of which you engage and have that physical experience, it can put things into perspective as to why you might be feeling a certain way, right? Why you might be thinking a certain way. Instead of, doom scrolling, kind of looking through the window of your phone into each one of these apps, if you actually were to personify, the room of Instagram, the room of fight Twitter, the room of YouTube, and like really feel into what it's like stepping in between those. It's no wonder most of us are the way that we are. You're adapting and you are physically engaging these spaces. So I love that insight with your daughter of it being a physical. physical room. And even like, we're in the dream state, right? What happens when you go into the subconscious, right? Or you go into those other places, you walk downstairs, right? There's a specific mechanism of moving through levels, right? In the same way, I know when I used to play video games, I used to log on, I used to imagine myself stepping into a chat room, right? In the same way she steps into your kitchen, she's stepping into these individual worlds and spends most of her waking hours, if not just as many, in those places
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, and the most amazing thing is, I mean, the thing is, we carry our consciousness everywhere we go. And what humans do is actually we just reflect our own consciousness and reflect our minds to our lives. And it can be reflected to the intelligence, to it is being reflected to AI and Roblox and all of those virtual world right now, because it doesn't matter if you are in the physical world or in the virtual world or closing your eyes doing meditation, it's still the same, it's still the same experience. When we first started the podcast, you remember what I said? I said I was in the room with all the students. We didn't speak for 7 days, but there was a lot of communication and conversation. Why? Because no matter where you are, it doesn't matter if you speak or not, the communication and the conversation in the mind, in our consciousness, is ongoing. Like, it's just eternal. It's just, it keeps on going and going.